happy to be able to bring some Lollapalooza artists into the office this week. Many of us know Lollapalooza as the festival in Chicago, but it's actually an amazing time of year that the Chicago music community kind of thrives around. So we're glad to be able to bring some of that into the office for you today. So without further ado, let's help welcome 2019 Lose the Child Lollapalooza act with their manager Joey Papoutsis and Dynasty podcast Jaime Black.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
All right. I got my questions on my phone. I'm not checking Tinder while I do this.
Not too much.
Yeah, not too much. Right on. So we already did the introduction, right? We already know. Okay, let's go right into it. So, Jaime Black sitting here with Louis the Child and Joey Papoutsis.
Papoutsis.
Papoutsis,
Close
yes.
enough.
Everybody gets my name wrong as well. So tonight we have some time with the group and their manager before they play Lollapalooza this Sunday. Very exciting. So thank you guys for taking time for this, and thank you Google for having us here. Yeah. So Louis the Child is from Chicago, from the Chicagoland area. How did the city shape your identity early on? You know, how did coming up from Chicago develop, you know, the Louis the Child sound and idea?
I mean, there's definitely, like, Lollapalooza every year was super influential for me just because of all the bands coming through and huge taste of, like, all different genres. And, like, just knowing about all the, like, artists from Chicago, especially, like, the big ones like Kanye, and seeing him at Lolla and seeing, like, I think Lollapalooza is, like, one of the single-handed, like, biggest influences on me, for sure. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just the amount of music coming through here in general.
Yeah. Well, it's a musical melting pot, and you're right. You have so much access to music in this city. You know, anytime any artist tours, they're going to play a Chicago set for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys are playing Lollapalooza this year, but you've played Lollapalooza previously, correct? A few years back.
2016.
Yeah.
2016. So you're playing, I assume, a larger stage this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the main stages.
How does that feel?
Definitely amazing.
Crazy.
Like, I never thought I would actually play Lolla the first time, and that was absurd. And so, like, to come back and play main stage is crazy.
Yeah. No, and
Super
it's like
humbled and honored.
And I have to think you guys are obviously larger in terms of recognition now, so it's got to feel almost more like a kind of real homecoming, especially, right?
It's been like 2 or 3 more tours since the first 2016, probably.
Yeah.
Probably like 2 or 4 tours.
Maybe around 3 years, I'd say.
Maybe around 3 years.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, 3 years more experience and got more music out there and more things we're excited to play. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
You know, speaking of the music of Louis the Child, talk about the songwriting process and how that, you know, happens, how it develops. Like, how did the two of you create music together?
It's always been super, like, production based and making, like, really good feeling music first, and then trying to, like, either write it ourselves or work with singers and collaborate, like, that way. But it's always just been, like, based around, like, some really happy melody. It's like, oh, that just makes me feel so good. And then, like, find a bass line that sounds really good along with that. And just, like, the feeling, just, like, something that makes me feel really happy to be alive while I'm listening to it.
I think we're both, you know, drummers at heart. So I think drums are definitely a big focus for us. Like, we always try and make the drums really cool and make the rhythms really interesting and fun. And I feel like between us two, Freddie's definitely the much more, like, technical production dude. He knows how to make shit sound better than I do, and I'm a little more on the, like, songwriting side. I like to
and live, you've been, like, killing it.
Yeah.
Like, since the
I have
start,
been killing
live.
it.
I do agree, though.
He does focus more on like the live show. Like, everything like that goes into that is more his territory, and I, like, create all of the stuff that we put into the live show. It's kind of
Well, and talk about the live, you know, for anybody in the room, anybody watching this at home who has not seen Louis the Child live, which they should, talk about the live setup. Like, what's a live show like with the two of you? What is the setup? What do people encounter?
The current setup that we have, since we've had this new setup since the last tour that we did about a year ago, where we're facing each other, and we each have two CDJs, a mixer, a Pioneer DJ-S, which is kind of like a sample pad thing, and then one of their, I think it's called RMX, like little effects box things.
And it's just mirrored. We both have the same thing on either side of the table.
Yeah.
And we like switch off, like doing
Like
fun
all,
stuff.
all my effects stuff affects what's coming out of his mixer, his to mine, and we can play drums or melodies and stuff on the pads. And I think it was just like we wanted to have something new to do on, like we got to a point where we were like, we want to build out our show a little more and add some more elements to play with and more fun, like more live things than just like spinning a set on CDJs. And we really liked the idea of facing each other while we were on stage. It was just like really aesthetically pleasing.
It sounds like there's like a perfect symmetry
Right.
Yeah.
happening on stage. Yeah.
Great. It's fun to like be able to kind of switch back and forth. Fred will mix 5 songs and I can play with effects and stuff, and then vice versa.
And I'd imagine that requires an incredible amount of coordination and planning and synchronizing in advance.
A lot more than previously. Yeah.
Yeah. Joey, on your end, how would you describe your role in managing the group, especially because, you linked up with the guys when they were a bit younger, kind of like in that post-high school, college kind of
Sure.
time?
We definitely grew together.
Yeah,
Ton.
so I've been managing Lewis Child for 6 years now, since I think you guys had like 100 fans on Facebook and a few thousand plays on SoundCloud. In the early days, I would say my job was almost like an independent record label or a publicist, just trying to get the music as much exposure as possible. And as the brand has grown over the years, the band has taken on more partners. So we work with a booking agency and a record label, a publicist, an attorney, and I equate my job now is kind of like the point guard of the team, making sure that all the band's partners are working together and everyone's pulling their weight.
Yeah, and how much coordination goes into that? Just, managing so many different components in that kind of operation.
It's definitely nonstop, but as the band has grown, so has our team, and the management company's grown. There's more support there, but for something like Lollapalooza, there's a lot of coordination, a lot of emails, a lot of scheduling that goes into bringing the show to life. So, at the end of the day, I say I'm like a soundboard. Like I just try to bring these guys their creative visions to life. So they'll have big ideas, and I find out how to do some homework, due diligence on how to execute them.
Well, and another question for you, Joey. It's like there are so many opportunities that probably get presented to you guys or pitched to you guys. Like, how do you identify the right ones and make sure that the group? Because we're going to talk about some of the cool projects you guys are doing in just a moment. But how do you make sure that you're signing on for the right things?
Sure. There's opportunities that hit our desk every day, and that it's helpful coming from the same place as the guys. We all came from the same high school, grew up together, have similar kind of, say we're like-minded in a lot of ways. So it's really just bringing opportunities to the table that I think make sense for their brand and that are in their best interests. And then also going out, and if the guys have an idea for let's collaborate with this person or that, figure out how to get in touch with them and find those people.
Yeah. So there is a lot happening with Lewis the Child at this moment in time, and in general, I want to run through some of these highlights and just get everybody's thoughts. We talked a little bit about Lollapalooza, but how does it feel to be coming home for Lollapalooza 2019, playing this weekend?
It's amazing. It always feels unreal. Like we just played Red Rocks for the second time, and that even right after the show was over and it actually happened, where they're just was that real? and it ended so fast. I'm sure Lala's gonna our set is gonna fly by so fast.
I feel
but
like
we're so excited.
And a lot of those things like Lala or like Red Rocks and stuff get booked so far in advance that it's
We're
kind of
excited for 6 months,
yeah,
or a year.
and it almost doesn't feel real when it's you're this close to it, because it's just been for the past 8 months or whatever. It's just been this distant imaginary thing almost.
It's just a calendar.
It's happening way
Yeah.
in the future, and then it actually comes, and you're like, oh wait, this is actually happening. It's no longer just this
Dream.
mystical thing that you think about all the time.
Yeah. Joey, when you're on site at something like a Red Rocks or a Lollapalooza, like, what's your role? What does that actually, what's it look like and feel like to be on the ground when you're managing at something that large?
Well, I mean, we have a huge tour team. So on our team, there's a tour manager, production manager, LD. My job is just Ableton Tech. There's a lot of roles. I would say my role is to make sure that everything's working, everything's smooth, and there's a million things that can come up for any given show. Just helping in any way I can, really.
Yeah. There's also the Vegas residency at Chaos, which is one of the newer kind of like mega clubs in Vegas. Is this the first kind of Vegas project you guys have done?
Done a few.
Done a few?
We were at Dreas for a a little bit, did out like the pool club, and then
played at Wynn once
for a little bit.
This is our first like legit like real big residency. It's been really fun too. Like, I don't know, Vegas is just such a different crowd, and they come
different.
for a different reason. but
it's cool. We get to like play whatever we want, like,
oh, nice.
and kind of just have fun and kind of play into
less
that
pressure
kind of crowd.
and like
Most of our like tour shows are like super thought out, and Louis the Child shows, and then the like Vegas shows we get to have fun and play other people's music, and also like sneak in like new things or sneak in some like stuff we think they'll like from us, and just super free form. It's fun.
And the Chaos team has been such an awesome partner. I mean, you guys would agree it's really artist friendly place.
Yeah.
Like they definitely kind of put the creatives first, I think. So.
Well, it's such a music and entertainment focused city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just like redid it, and there's a room with like Damien Hirst originals like all throughout the room, and like there's a room with like a bowling alley, and like I don't know, it's crazy to go.
they don't let us stay in those rooms.
No, they don't.
Some of that stuff's probably here at
Got to be
Google, too.
Diplo.
Another, I mean, again, like there's just this whole list of things that you guys are doing right now. You guys just released the theme song for the X Games 2019. It's called Big Time. How did that come together for anybody up here?
We made the song originally, just Fred and I made it in like my basement at the place I was living at, and I think we originally thought of it as like a live show song. We even were like, this could be an interesting like intro song for our next tour or something, and then I think we played it a little on the road, and then we threw like a vocal on it and have been kind of playing it with a vocal for a while, and then we played the X Games this year and met all the X Games people who were really awesome. And if you guys haven't been to the X Games, like that shit's super fun. And then they hit us up like asking if they could use that song, and then we kind of went and we like searched all over YouTube trying to find some good like X Games sound bites to like throw into the song, which was really fun because we ended up just getting to watch some like cool X Games stuff until we found like a good like sound bite to throw in there. And it's just awesome to like, it's one of those things that, when you first start out making music, like you never would have thought that would be something that would happen.
Well, and it's such an upbeat. I mean, I know you guys are generally an upbeat band. Freddie, you were talking about writing happy music, but it's a very poppy, sunny, like upbeat kind of song. So I think it fits well with that.
Totally.
The Sirius Radio, you guys are also doing a mix show. How did that come together, and what's the kind of focus and imperative on that?
Yeah, Diplo has a channel called Diplo's Revolution, and he asked us to do like an hour-long show every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, and it's just a cool opportunity for us to like show people new music that we find and try to like put together like a radio show for the first time. So it's definitely, I think it's been like 36 episodes now, and that's like double that amount of weeks since we started. It feels like yesterday, but it's really cool to have that like opportunity to show our taste, and like we can play like rap or like old school songs, or we don't like stick to just the electronic stuff that like is played on the rest of like Diplo's channel. So it's fun. It's I love it. It's every other week we just send each other like 10 songs to throw in, and then sometimes we have like a guest mix from our friends. And
yeah, you had Autograph from Chicago.
Autograph, yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I mean, I would imagine that lets you kind of like, spread your wings a little bit, and you're right, probably venturing into curating some music that you probably might even not get to play on your live sets as well.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's cool just for the fans to know, what we're into, and I feel like a lot of times, what we're listening to and what we're really into then, impacts the music that we make. So it's cool for like, maybe fans will recognize like, oh, they started using, this type of sound or these types of drums. And, I know that they've been listening to a bunch of this music because they're radio shows. So that's probably why they have these, African drum rhythms or something. It's cool.
You guys also have some really cool kind of Chicago connections happening right now in the days leading up to the Lolla set, the first of which is the really cool Fat Tiger Workshop merch collaboration that you're doing. Talk about that. Joey, I'd love to hear kind of your role in setting that up, but just tell us about, the Fat Tiger merch collab.
Drop.
Yeah, because
Fatty merch drop.
Fat Tiger Workshop just does like such great work in Chicago. They do such a great job of, I think, really representing the city's, creative culture. So talk about that project.
I can kick that off. So, I mean, first and foremost, we're all huge fans of that brand and Joe Freshgoods, Rello. So this collab is with one of the specific designers from Fat Tiger. His name's Rello. And actually our photographer, Colin, introduced us. I think we all, like the guys, didn't you wear Fat Tiger at Coachella?
Born Fat Tiger
Right,
in many
and
places.
many
yeah.
festivals, many places. And we were thinking, we're like, how can we do something really cool and Chicago focused for our fans? And so opened up a dialogue with Rello. This was a few months ago, got some things confirmed. And doing a pop-up shop at their store. It runs Wednesday through Friday. Some of the pieces will be available on sale at Lollapalooza and also the Metro After Party. And then we're selling leftovers online next week.
Is this the first kind of merch? I guess you guys have Lewis the Child merch, but is this the first like outside merch collaboration you've done like this?
It's one of the first big ones like this, but we've done a few.
Yeah, I'd say this feels like the first real outside collab with the brand. We've worked with some outside designers, but this is the first
real one.
Yeah, and you're also rehearsing this week at Fort Knox. For anybody who is not familiar, Fort Knox is a just staggeringly massive music rehearsal and incubation space on the far northwest side of Chicago. And Joey was telling me you guys rehearsed there real early on in your career. So how does it feel to be not only coming back to Chicago, coming back to Lollapalooza, but like rehearsing in kind of your old stomping grounds when you were a much younger band?
Well, we used to work
nostalgic.
out of there.
Yeah.
We had like a studio space there that we shared with Win and Woo and Weethan.
Mm-hmm.
I think, didn't you and Weedy make Slow Down Love there?
No, that was at my house. We made a few things there.
We definitely made a lot of music there, so it's cool to like be back there and, just like years later still be able to come back to the same kind of place and, still have a home there and a relationship with those people to where we can, set up and get ready for Lollapalooza, which I'm sure was like, at the time when we were working out of there, was like such a far away dream to like play a main stage at Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
It's a great spot too, though. They have like, I don't even know, probably 1,000 rooms in the whole thing. We rented
It's
out.
really like just surprisingly massive. It genuinely is.
Yeah, and you get lost too.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a really cool spot for us back in the day because just like Weedy lived on the other side of Chicago, like West Chicago, and we live like super north, and then Win and Woo was like kind of more in the city, so it was cool to like all meet at that spot and just like be super creative. And it's definitely cool to come back to as well, but we don't have the same room. He told me he walked by it and he was like, I walked by the room like crying.
Did you knock and were you like, can we switch?
just come in?
Yeah.
Might do that later.
I definitely miss Chicago though, a lot.
So, how long, let's ask this, how long has Lewis the Child now been active? Like, where are you guys in, like 6, 7 years?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like just at the beginning of high school that we started.
Yeah.
And now it's been 3, I graduated 2016. So it's probably 6 or 7 years. It's been
I think
been a
7.
while.
Yeah.
Not that long, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's,
Time
that's
is weird.
Yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been that
Right.
long compared to everything. Yeah. But how would you say that, and again, for Joey as well, how would you say that the group has evolved? How has each of your approach to this, it became a business, how have things changed during the evolution of Lou as the Child to where you are now?
We've definitely gotten just our creation process down better, and finishing music, we've gotten just like definitely a lot better at like the quality of sound and like knowing what we want to kind of create. What else?
Yeah, and I feel like just you get, with anything, as you get more experience and you're put in lots of different situations, you learn a lot, you fail a lot, you succeed a lot, and you learn from both your failures and your successes. Just you do 7 years of anything, constantly, you're gonna learn a lot along the way and be constantly adjusting, and we work with a lot more people now and have added so many more people to the team who all add different opinions and ideas. That's really, really cool to now have like an expanded team of people that we trust and that can offer really amazing ideas and help us bring really cool shit to life.
Yeah, you have a network. Joey, how would
Working
you?
with Interscope too has been like a new thing from the past. Like we started working with them like 2 years ago, but so like kind of adjusting to working with like a major label was it's definitely been awesome for us. Like we've heard like horror stories everywhere, but it's just like kind of an adjustment to working with like a bigger team and kind of pleasing more people, but it's still like just our vision and kind of what we want to make, and but we trust everyone there too, so that definitely helps. But
Nice.
I just definitely think we've kind of gotten better at finishing things and got like so many things that we can't wait to put out.
Yeah, and over the years, the guys have gone from selling out Lincoln Hall to the Metro to, I think we skipped Concord, but we went to Aragon, sold Aragon out. So there's always kind of like a bigger room, a bigger stadium, whatever, that you can play. And on the music side, it's like there's new and innovative ways to break music. So always looking at that. I mean, like songs are going viral off TikTok now. I didn't know what TikTok was.
Man, that's a whole different discussion. Yeah.
Sure. So it's always, it's a really fun and dynamic place to work, and trying to just build the brand as big as it possibly can be, not just in North America, but worldwide.
Yeah. Well, I want to open up to questions in just a moment, but final question for everyone up here. What's next for Lou as the Child? I hear there's new music on the way, but like, what can we tease?
Working on an album,
For sure.
working on a new show, and
Yeah, for the fall.
Lots of
This
other
album is the
things.
main thing we're really like focusing on. Is we for like the first time in 3 years, we had like 2 months off to work. For like 3 years, we were just pretty constantly like traveling in and out, and like it was hard to find like a comfortable working workflow while like kind of like being what's the right word? Just kind of like having your attention separated from that, and like having to go travel, and then like it's just it's a different process while you're on the road. Like it's easier to make like quick ideas on the road, but like finishing stuff is much easier like in an actual studio with speakers where you can not listening off of MacBook speakers. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it was like for 3 years we didn't have 2 months off, so that was it's been really helpful. So
That's amazing that you get to like take some time to breathe now.
you breathe or just work on the album pretty much. No, not really time off, but
Yeah.
We're also gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yes. I'm glad we got to announce that on this live
just be
stream.
ready. You should.
Gonna have to delete that part.
They'll never see it coming now.
Yeah. This is the place to tell a secret or two, the live stream of the largest technology company in the world. Right on. Well, let's open it up to some questions. We got this awesome crowd from Google here.
Sweet, easy,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
done.
yeah. No questions. Let's go.
Thank you. So you guys mentioned your new show was a lot more organized and you guys were more active in playing with each other. I'm curious, just you probably have a pretty good insight to other electronic shows. Who are some of the people that you look up to or maybe the most skilled DJs live?
Skrillex has always been like a really good DJ. When you say DJ, Odessa's live show has always been super inspiring for like what they do with live instruments, and
Maddie and
always, yeah.
Maddie
Justice,
has a
too.
new show this weekend. He's got a new live
Really?
show.
Oh yeah, he's got the.
Debuting his new live show.
I can't wait. He's got like that light up mic. Mic stand.
That's
sorry.
it.
Letting the
That's
cat
all
out
he's
of the
got.
bag.
Microphone.
But yeah, definitely those four hugely, like Skrill, Justice, Maddie, who else do we say? Odessa, yeah. But we're still trying to. I don't think there's anyone that's like perfectly done the type of thing we're trying to figure out.
Which is why we're trying to figure.
Which is why we're trying to figure that out. But definitely all those have been super inspiring. Have you seen like a few Odessa shows? Yeah. Like the recent ones where they're like the drummers are like on the riser, things like that where they incorporate like real instruments into like the production and like in some new way where you don't expect it. Things like that are cool too. But that's like past like just the musical side too. That's like visual.
Yeah, I think they're all their like attention to detail too. Like especially like you go to a Justice show, like every little like it's always getting bigger and more interesting, and there's always looks that you haven't seen before, and you know all the lights are hitting perfectly with the music and stuff, and that's like super inspiring to see like you know a show that's like that dialed and like where you kind of like are in it the whole way, and then it finishes and you're like, holy what? Like,
probably just us playing instruments, not like having like extra band members behind us. Have you seen the Blaze too? Because I just remembered that they inspired us a ton.
I have.
The Blaze,
The
yeah.
Blaze.
If you ever, they're newer, so that makes sense that you haven't seen them. But they're like cinematographers that like also do music, so it's all just like a super visual, really like vibrant show, and it's also musically just great, like really good music.
I'll put that on the list.
Yeah,
Check
the
their
Blaze.
show out if you get a chance. Yeah.
We got one up here.
So you guys got started relatively young, I would say. Was there a way that did you teach yourself how to use the software? How did you get into music in general?
When I was like young, I like 11 or 12, I started playing in like jazz bands and played in like concert and jazz band throughout high school. So that was like super helpful. But then like just every night I would spend like 6 to 9 hours in high school doing music, like not doing homework, just get home and then Ableton. And it's just that time you put in as much time as possible, and you start to like figure out your workflow and how the software works. It's definitely I started when I was 12, so that many hours, like 6 to 9 hours a night, like for how many years now? I'm 21, about to be 22. So it's just time. Like the more time you put into it, and I also like YouTube like tutorials were huge for like sound design and like finding different like plugins and figuring out how to use all the plugins basically. It's a world of plugins to make music, and it's kind of YouTube is the best for like learning. Dude, Google is like the best.
Yeah.
I would be lost without Google Maps. Literally, learned how to make music. I would have no career.
Yeah, we said earlier when we were hanging, we were like, we built the whole business on Google Work. Google Spreadsheets, Gmail.
YouTube.
Like without that, I don't know if Louis Shaw would be playing Lollapalooza.
Definitely, yeah,
Shout out
definitely.
Google.
Shout out Google.
Also, like Dubspot too helped. I took some like classes there for like a few months to like learn some plugins, and yeah, it's definitely just like spending as much time and trying to like seek out other ways of learning. Most of the time though.
In the back.
Hi guys, love to hear that you all are Google fans. My question is kind of like, with your start being so young, like what did that vision look like at that age? I can't imagine at 12 that you were thinking like, this is where I'll end up.
No, not at all.
How did that kind of, how was that built in your head, and how has it evolved?
It's funny, I remember like a while ago, Freddie in the bathroom like next to his little office space where we would make music, there's this big Lollapalooza poster from like '07 or something. And like, every time I go to the bathroom, I see the poster and be reading all the names, and there's like, like Cage the Elephant was like the last name on it or something. And I would always like look at it and be like, damn, like where where could we end up on a poster like this? And I remember like us talking one time and me being like, yeah, I feel like we could end up like sort of in the middle of the like if we made it there, that'd be like cool. And he was like, you don't think we could like headline or something? Like you don't think we could be a big name? And I was like,
I don't see
probably
it
not.
He was like, I don't see it
I don't think that's even possible.
I don't see it happening.
Like
Mid-font, not
keep in
big
mind
font.
also at the time, I feel like there wasn't a lot of like nowadays it's like, Odessa can go and close out, a huge stage at Lollapalooza and stuff. But I feel like back when we were first starting out, it was like not many electronic acts were like in those positions, and it didn't really seem that possible for electronic artists to like, be headlining a festival or be selling out an arena. I feel like when we first started out, I was like, it would just be cool to like play a music festival and like play to a crowd. Obviously you always dream of like being able to be, the headliner of Lollapalooza or something, but when you're, getting less than 100 plays on SoundCloud, you're like, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But I think we definitely had, aspirations of, building it really big, but we were also like in high school and, understood that the music industry is not like the easiest thing to crack.
Yeah, I definitely, I think for me, like my reason behind like making music every day kind of has changed a good amount. Like when I started, it was just like, is to make me like happier and to kind of, I don't know, just because I love pretty noises and pretty chords and pretty melodies. And like after seeing how it can like affect the world and how like a happy song can make people happy, like kind of changed to be like, damn, let's see how I can like make people feel either at the concert or from the music, like kind of playing with like how much better can you make someone feel based on like the music.
And
that's
like
kind of
hearing
like
stories of people
why we
connecting
make
with
it
your
now.
music.
Like to try to make like a beautiful moment, like a beautiful night is like the reason why we like put on the shows, and to try to like create a beautiful feeling is like why we make the music.
I think we got
That's
a
kind of changed.
question over here as well.
Cool.
Hey guys, so knowing that you're from like New Trier, the Winnetka area, pretty straightforward linear careers, and you guys are very young. What was the inciting incident where you guys were like, we got to go all in on the music? Like when you guys looked at each other and just said, like, we're at a fork in the road and we have to go all in on Louis the Child.
I feel like a moment for me for sure where I was like, oh, this is getting like kind of like really real. I feel like was in like, it was right when Freddie's a year younger than me, and so I was at school at USC, and Freddie was finishing up high school, and I remember like we weren't at a point yet where we could really like just skip out on school and like just do music yet. Like it still made sense for us to be in school, but then like in the first 2 months or something that I was at school, we released our song It's Strange, which then got like posted by Taylor Swift as like one of her top 10 favorite songs at the moment or something. And then we got like an offer to play Coachella and an offer to play Lolla, like all in like a pretty short time span. And I think at that point I was like, okay, so I'm not going back to school next year for sure. like things are getting pretty real. Like we can definitely start doing this like full time and stop going to school.
Good headline. Taylor Swift inspires me to drop out of school.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I think once I hit my junior year and hadn't been focusing on homework for 2 years or 2.5 years, I was like, well, time to like make sure that this works out by the time I finish high school. So
Like, I may not be able to get into any colleges.
it's like I kind of been doing this thing. I guess I have to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got time for one more question, I'm being told. So we got one up front. Get the microphone. Well, we got to use the mic for the recording. Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
Wikipedia has a random article button, like that takes you to like any article from the whole website, and yeah, it took like 50 or 60 clicks or something. Most of them are really bad. Like you usually get not like the best. It's like What's a random thing that would pop up?
You know,
It would be like a list of events that happened in 1943 in Greenland.
like the 1936 World Series or something.
Yeah. It's like, that's not going to be
We
your
originally
name.
skipped over it though. I remember
Yeah.
that specifically. Like we clicked and we looked and we like lose the child. Click next and we're like, oh, hold on, go back. Lewis the Child. That sounds kind of like add that to
Lewis
the list.
the Child remix.
Like, yeah, Lewis the Child. Like typed it out and we like said like we are Lewis the Child. Yeah, that sounds nice. Like, you got to test it all out, you know. Make sure that no one's got it on social media and stuff. We
Yeah,
Googled
pretty
it and nothing else popped up.
Grab the Twitter handle right
Yeah.
away, at Lewis the Child. It's born on the internet.
All right, is that? Yeah, I'm getting the nod. That's
That's
it.
a wrap.
Lewis the Child, Joey, Google. Thank you guys for having us so much. My name is Jaime Black,
Thank you,
Dynasty
guys.
Podcast. Thank you guys. This is great.
Thank you.